Good morning, and thanks so much for tuning into the trade setup. I'm Niraj Shah. It's Thursday, and for now, it is still the weekly expiry that will change from September, and I'll come to that in a moment. First, the global news flow, and remember, it was all about the dollar index, really. I mean, or all about the U.S. inflation, if you will, which led to which led to the uptick in the European markets yesterday, which led to the downtick in the dollar index, which led to a bit of a brief uptick in the US markets as well, with the Nasdaq doing a lot better than what the Dow and the S&P did, but 1% higher for the Nasdaq. And frankly, look at the Qs. Look at the dollar index, the next plate. I think that is the key thing from a risk perspective. 100.22, downtick in volatility 8.76%. The 10-year yields came off too, and all of that is actually a really good sign from a markets perspective. So good going really for the world markets by and large. So what happened overnight? Inflation at 3% odd. To a lot of people mind, it flags the end of emergency and the turning point for the Fed. So that's the key thing. Oil has held gains. Asian equities are also advancing as the presumable Fed rate peak nears. So that's the key thing. Now, the gift Nifty could be indicating a start which is flattish, maybe marginally higher, 19,562, so maybe marginally higher. But I would suspect that there is more in store, simply because the world markets by and large are doing okay. We have rallied a bit, and therefore at the current valuations, maybe people find discomfort. But the going is not bad. So that's the key thing, despite the fact that IT index may have a bit of a hiccup today. So what's the trade setup? I believe Indian markets could rise in line with the Asian markets, but the issue is that we've consistently been facing selling at higher levels all through the last 4 days. Even day before yesterday, when we actually gained 0.43%, we saw selling at the higher levels. Yesterday, of course, we ended the way we did. Previous days as well, we kind of seeing selling at the higher levels, and therefore, while Asian markets may do well, the fact that we're getting seeing selling at higher levels plus IT facing a bit of an issue, uh, that might keep these gains capped, if you will. Excuse me. A lot of people are talking about the gains in the defense stocks, and it is admirable the rise that we've seen. But I would urge people secondly on a trot to look at the delivery markups, which are looking very, very sketchy. So please be careful unless you are in this for the long haul, or if you have a complete grasp on what an individual bottom-up stock might be doing. Be mindful of the fact that there is now a bit of a frenzy, really, that we're starting to see. And it's not just in defense, by the way, across the board. I mean, we're seeing some massive, massive uh, plans, targets being spoken about by companies. It is a bit unnerving, I would have to say. Today, IT stocks, ER&D stocks, and SFB stocks, small finance bank stocks, will all be in focus today. Now, IT, I don't need to tell you why. TCS numbers, though better than estimated, not the strongest quarter. HCL take a big miss, and we'll see a downtick today. And in HCL Tech, the ER&D division had a very wobbly quarter. Now, two ways to look at it. Maybe the large companies are not able to function on the ERD side as well as the focused companies are, and maybe those companies might do well. Or the other way to look at it is if HCL Tech also has an issue, maybe some of the others might also have an issue. So I don't quite know which way it will turn out, but it could have an impact for sure on the ERD stock. Sorry, I'm not able to be very opinionated about this, and I shouldn't be. But yeah, I mean, I do believe there are two ways to look at it, and left to me, I would suspect that the R&D stocks will have a bit of a weak bout today. But let's wait and watch. My colleague Tushar has interviewed KPIT, and their interview should be caught, of course. Uh, and I presume that they are expressing some confidence about what's the outlook ahead. So it could be interesting to see how the other ER&D stocks do. And small finance bank stocks, I mean, not just because of this Utkarsh SFB IPO, there's a lot of traction and investments that are happening in some of these. So well, keep an eye out for those as well. There's of course a change in the weekly expiry that I was saying. So Bank Nifty's weekly expiry now will shift to Wednesday, starting September 6th. Thursday will continue with the expiry day for monthly and quarterly contracts. So well, lots happening out there. Different days, different expiries. So who knows? At some point of time, depending on the various indices, We might have expiry days 4 out of the 5 days. Who knows? It's an important day for earnings as well, not as large, but Wipro. So the commentary from them would be important. Federal Bank, Angel One with the demat accounts and additions that we've seen, and the fact that Angel One is no longer at the levels that it was trading at. It has bounced back quite admirably from those. Sterling Wilson Solar would be important. Tata Metallics important as well. And since we talked about defense and related stocks, Avantel Softtech also becomes important. So pretty interesting set of names out there. Um, but speaking of results, there are stocks that might react to these. So TCS, the first up on my radar, revenues 59381. Well, largely in line with estimate, you would have to say. PAT down 2.79%, but marginally ahead of estimate. So actually, you would say again, largely in line. And EBIT margin to 23.16. Now, I wouldn't call it a miss. Some people are talking about this being either side of the query. I think the quarter was down to the middle, right in line with estimates. So no big changes there. I would suspect I mean, maybe a positive reaction, mildly, definitely not a large negative reaction. But a large negative reaction in HCL Tech seems to be a certainty to my mind. Revenues down 1.2% at 26,296 crores, almost in line with estimates. Maybe actually it's about a 400 crore miss. You could argue on that base it's in line with estimates only, maybe marginally lower. But the EBIT, and I think the internals, I'll come to that in a moment. The internals show that the ER&D space essentially led to a big miss for HCL Tech. EBIT 8.2% downtick at 4438 crores, much lower than estimated. Margins much lower than estimated. I don't know, though I don't know why Bloomberg estimates were 22.1%, to be very honest. Most brokerages estimates that I read were at about 19.5%. So even this is a bit skewed, but 16.9 is a miss. That's the key point. PAT at 3531 versus 3981, estimates of 3830 crores. So there too is a miss. So certainly HCL Tech will have a reaction. I thought the MK note put it very well. So, and therefore I brought that note today. They say results missed expectations across parameters, but the company's retained its FY24 revenue and EBIT margin guidance of 6 to 8% band and 18 to 19% band, which implies a CQGR of 3.1 to 4.4% over Q2 or Q4, which is a very steep ask given the current environment. I mean, look at what they've done essentially, right? I mean, what they've clocked in is a downtick of 1.2 and talking about a growth of between 3.1 to 4.4 over Q2 and an average of about what 3.7% growth each of the next 3 quarters, which is to my mind a very steep ask, but the management is confident due to the current pipeline and some large deals in the advanced stages as well. I will be quizzing the management today. I think the interview plays out at 9 or thereabouts. So you will hear it from the management as well on that. MK, yeah, so this is what's happening, right? At 9 a.m., you will hear C. Vijay Kumar talking to me on the numbers. And of course, talking point at 10 a.m. with Mrinal Singh as well. But MK says that the stock is likely to remain under pressure in the near term, post the earnings miss, but they maintain a buy given the expected rebound in performance and reasonable valuations. Well, let's wait and watch. So HCL Tech will start off lower. Will it go down further from those levels? I think that is a question mark. And I would suspect that it would be a bad idea to go short on the stock if it starts with a large gap down. Please keep that in mind. So I must say, yesterday I went awfully wrong, right? I mean, on Delta Corp, I was right. The stock saw a big downtick. I thought, and it was an error on my part, that Nazara will have a downtick, sharp downtick as well. The management clarified that real money gaming was only 5%. So, analysis done, but sometimes the best of the efforts don't quite result in the best analysis. So please excuse me if I'm wrong, but I think I agree with what MK is trying to say. Patanjali Foods, promoter will sell about 7% stake over 2 trading days. Will sell about 2.53 crore shares at a floor price of 1,000 rupees a piece. Grapevine has it that the demand is at much higher levels for Patanjali Foods. So be mindful of that, that it may not really start off very low. And part 2, let's get the Patanjali food plate. But the part 2 is that this actually does away with the overhang of supply in Patanjali Foods, and that's actually a very good piece of news. So do watch out for that one. Then do watch out for SpiceJet. Ajay Singh, will invest about 500 crores to strengthen the airline's financial position through equity and or convertible securities on preferential basis. The funds will be considered as an equity share of the promoter in the government's ECLG scheme. Well, a gasping airline gets some much needed funding from the promoter, might be construed positively. Then the government has restricted import of unstudded gold and certain gold articles. The importers would require a permission of the government for importing these gold products. Restrictions will not apply to imports under the India UAE Free Trade Agreement. Well, this certainly brings the jewelry companies in focus as well. Do watch out for these. Subros. The government is mandating air conditioning in cabins of N2 and N3 category vehicles, which will aid Subros's business, I think. Subros sees incremental business opportunities in vehicle AC component manufacturing within this amendment. Remember, the government had decided to mandate the AC in cabins of these category vehicles from January 2025. That will happen earlier. So therefore, there's an incremental business opportunity for Subros. I would suspect that the stock would do well, despite the fact that it's expensive. Sealmatic, don't know much about the company, but the company becomes the first to receive ISO accreditation for nuclear applications in India and globally. So this could be constructive. This could be important for Sealmatic to watch out for this stock. I confess, I know nothing about the company, so please do your own due diligence before you try and trade this. Is my honest request. But the news seems to be positive, so very likely the stock will react positively. Ashiana Housing will do a buyback, 1.78% at a price of 301, much higher than the current market price. So do watch out for Ashiana Housing today. Dr. Reddy's, the company's biologics license application for its proposed biosimilar rituximab has been accepted by the US FDA, UK MHRA, and European Medicines Agencies. Very likely a positive for Dr. Reddy's. For Dream Folks as well, a strategic collaboration with Plaza Premium Group to expand global lounge network and enhance travel experience. Apparently, an inclusion of 340 plus Plaza Premium lounges for Dreamfolks Global Lounge Network, and this could be construed positively for Dreamfolks. Some stocks in news. Texmaco will consider fundraising proposals on July 17th. Remember, railways are a red hot property currently, and Texmaco might be raising funds in order to execute some projects. Remember, they have to give off a part of their project. So do watch out for Texmaco. Watch out for Deep Industries. There's won orders from oil and gas, ONGC, and Century Textiles will buy a land parcel from Hindalco for 595 crores and 1.5% of the sales of the project. I believe the project is in Kalwa, and this could be construed more positively for Century as opposed to Hindalco. So do watch out for that one as well. Any brokerage notes that I have missed? Well, CLSA has a buy on M&M. A target price has been raised to 1898. And Jeffries has upgraded Samvardhana Motherson to a buy. The target price has been raised to 115 from 70 rupees. They're saying that after 4 tough years, Samvardhana Motherson's operating performance has started to improve in FY23. They see the EBITDA doubling and EPS trebling over FY23 to 26, led by supportive operating environment and profit accretion from acquisitions. This is a big upgrade, and watch out for Samvardhana Motherson. And of course, like I said, on most IT names, there are downticks. I mean, most brokerages have a reduce on TCS. So that's the key thing. And on HCL Tech, well, interestingly, most people are neutral. I would reckon that might be because HCL Tech spoke about how they are confident of delivering on the FY24 guidance, which is not a bad guidance, by the way. If they clock in 6 to 8%, that's actually a pretty decent show. Lots of conversations today, like we said. HCL Tech at 9, Mrinal Singh at 10, so you want to tune in for those as well. And of course, it's the big day today, the India Opportunity Summit at BKC. This is BQ Prime's almost a maiden equity market event. We hope to see you guys on the platform or out there at Trident BKC today for some really engaging and riveting conversations. Do try and log in. And thanks for tuning into the trade setup. What you will get at the India Opportunity Summit, here are a slice of that.
how do you make the most of the India opportunity as an investor? For that answer, all roads lead to BKC in Mumbai on the 13th of July. 3 big money managers describe the size of this opportunity. 2 of the largest mutual fund CIOs then tell you about the mega trends that they're investing in. Will the current capex cycle be similar to the one between 2003 and 2008? We get that answer from Sanjeev Sharma of ABB in a conversation with veteran investor Madhusudan Kela. And then we rounded off with 2 of the most prominent investing names talking about how to make the large bets and make it really big. All of this and more at the Trident Hotel in BKC on the 13th of July. Catch the action live on BQ Prime.